Hey, folks. So, a couple of weeks ago, my son and I went to the movie theater and we watched the first two episodes of Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, the new show on Amazon. And at the time, we enjoyed what we saw. There was a few minor issues, but we were able to overlook them. And I'll admit, over the past couple of weeks, I haven't been able to catch up with them until now. I just watched the third episode. I'll watch the fourth one in a moment and give my thoughts on that. But I will admit that after watching the third episode, my enjoyment is still the same, but I do have some concerns because there's a few things about the show that seems to either overlook, I won't say the obvious, but just minor things where they're just not addressed, or they just happen for seemingly no reason. And that leads me to concerns about the show because obviously the show is based off of notes from Tolkien. And like I said, I haven't read the books, and so I'm coming into this about as fresh and as green as ever. And I'm pretty certain that to adapt notes or random thoughts is a difficult task and a difficult process. But there are just moments here where I don't know what they're trying to accomplish as far as the show. So let me get into it, on my thoughts on the third episode, and anyway, so let's get into it. So at the end of the second episode, we see Galadriel and the guy she's with, I forget his name. They're in the ocean, and it's they get picked up by a strange boat, and then they get transported to some island. I forget the name of the island. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'm lucky to keep up with a few names here and there. We hear Southlands, which is easy to understand, but when they start saying Nalandria, whatever, I hear it and I go, okay, that's this place. But to speak it, maybe I'll catch up and know all the names by the end of the season. Anyway, they're on this island that I guess is very anti-elf, and so as soon as they see a Galadriel is, an elf, they immediately don't like her, and they don't like the guy that's with them. But the captain of the boat picked her up because there's a saying, the sea is always right. Now, I will admit, watching this show and House of the Dragon at the same time, a lot of these sets look incredibly similar. As soon as, you know, they land in this island, I look at it and I go, okay, it's Lord of the Rings, but golly, if it doesn't look incredibly similar to King's Landing in Game of Thrones. And, I look at certain people and I'm like, okay, that's this person and that's that person. I'm more or less joking to myself, but there's a lot of scenes that are very similar. So they don't like her because of whatever happened a long time ago. I guess the previous king got dethroned because he favored elves, and she wants to get back to where she was on Middle Earth. And before I continue, I did have a thought watching the first two episodes that I didn't address because, like I said, I was just trying to be very generic and very broad. But were we really supposed to expect her to swim all the way across that sea/ocean back to Middle Earth? I had a really, really hard time with that. Watch, Watching the first couple of episodes because they let us see the map, and I'm under the impression that when they get on the boat to go back to their homeland, I was like, okay, they're standing the entire time. Maybe this is a short boat ride, of maybe a half a day or a day, what have you. But she starts swimming back, and I'm going, I think that's not logical. But then, as she's picked up by, the random people, and it's attacked by a fish, and now he's picked up by these guys. The more I go, okay, guys, we can we go back to the whole her potentially supposed to be swimming back? So yeah, I have an issue. That's my biggest pain point at the moment. Anyway, then we cut and we run into Isildur, a young Isildur. I presume it's the same one from the movies that was able to defeat Sauron. And then we run into the other elves that got captured by the orcs, and apparently orcs don't like sunlight, and these guys stage a revolt. Now, I will say the way the orc took out the one elf, with the drinking the water, that was pretty dope. I thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, they stage a revolt. It doesn't work out too well. Once again, it's like a lot of set pieces, but not really having an understanding of what's going on. We see the hobbits; they're moving from one location to the other, and like I said, there's just things that are happening. The guy that was with Galadriel, he gets into his own matters, and we find out he may be more than we think he is. How original, and that's intended sarcasm. But this particular episode, I will have to admit, kind of took it down a notch for me as far as enjoyment of the show. Like I said, I'll continue to watch the show, but this one kind of brought down. And maybe it was being in the theater, and maybe it was the huge tub of popcorn and drink, but yeah, this show has got some issues. There's a lot of moments happening, but really no end point. Galadriel finds some more things about possibly Sauron. Once again, it's hard to see where the pieces are going, where they're only showing us half of the pieces, and hopefully things will come together. Usually I like to see things come together around the third or fourth episode. Hopefully in the fourth episode more will be revealed to us. But yeah, there's a few concerns here. And do I think the show is absolutely horrible? No, not at all. I've watched much worse this year, and this is so far going to be right in the middle. And so that's pretty much all I got to say about this episode. Still very pretty, and still reminds me a lot of the movies, which, like I said, I enjoyed the original trilogy, and The Hobbit not so much. So this is right in between the two. I really thought the Hobbit movies were not all that good, but Lord of the Rings is probably one of the best movie experiences I've ever had. So I'll put this right in between the two. But all in all, so this is pretty much going to be the end of it. I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to go ahead and watch the fourth episode. Anyway, what did you guys think of the third episode of Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know. Post in the comments below. If you like what I had to say, you can always hit that thumbs up button, and you can always hit subscribe. I'm on my road to 200 subscribers. Anyway, thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk to you guys next time.